Hey, this is Robert Monroe, and I wanted to offer you some advice about a situation that I encountered, and I bet you will at some point. This is specific to piano, but in reality, you could apply what I'm talking about to other things like a guitar breaking a string. And what is that particularly? It is playing an out of tune piano. So I was playing a wedding, and the wedding had me play some songs as guests came in. And at that point, there was just a piano there, and the piano was pretty badly out of tune. And I've got my piano here, and I haven't tuned it since the weather changed, so it's got some notes that are not the best. It's pretty good, but I just wanted to give you some ideas. It's not going to be as striking with this particular instrument right now, but you'll get the general idea. So let's get into it. Go ahead, like this video, subscribe. I've got tons of information on this channel and performances. I know you'll like what you see. We've got Christmas coming around the corner. I'm going to record a lot of seasonal music, so hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. I was playing Here Comes the Sun, and I was playing it in a different key, but for this piano, I'm going to play it in D flat. You'll start to notice what I mean about out of tune. All right, so you hear some notes in there. A couple things to fix, well, not fix, but help to avoid the shortcomings of an out of tune piano. The first is pick out notes that you notice are really out of tune, and then find keys that you don't need to play those notes in. That G's really out of tune. Thankfully, it's really high up. This F that I was using to start the melody on, very out of tune. So how about we try it in a different key? How about F? Or A flat maybe? Notice this A flat's a bit out of tune, so that would be not one to do. F was working really pretty well. All right, how about tip number 2? Tip number 2 is don't use the whole entire piano. So for example, I could play it in C. Sounds pretty good here, but if I go, I start to run into trouble. Tip number 3. This one is kind of a weird one, but you actually should adapt some of the style that you typically play with to be simpler and use more thirds type harmony, because notes that are out of tune start to really pull on each other the more complicated the chord. Like, let's imagine I'm playing an A. Not super noticeable. This is more for when a piano is really out of tune. But the more complicated the chord is, the more you're going to have trouble in terms of intonation, particularly thirds. Very helpful thing to do is low chords. Just play the fifth instead of playing the whole triad. The triad starts to pull because thirds don't sound good unless they're really in tune. Okay. Let's summarize. We are thinking to change the key. We're thinking to not use the whole range of the piano. And we're also thinking to use more of the middle of the piano. I got one more tip, and that is try not to bang on notes. Play with a really sweet tone. It will overcome a lot of the issues with the notes. Now, you don't want to play inarticulately. Inarticulately? Is that a word? Well, it is now. Anyway, you want to play with confidence, but you want to play with a nice, firm, light fingertip so as to not bang out bad sounding notes. Listen to this. Compared to this. As I went higher, you notice how I lightened up a bit, makes those notes a lot more palatable. All right, well, hope you learned something. This is by no means a comprehensive list of what to do, and each situation is different. The dreaded note that doesn't play at all is a big difficulty on pianos. That is definitely one you want to avoid by changing the key. And I'm sure there's other things I could think of. If you think of anything, please add it to the comments so that we can all benefit from our collective knowledge. And until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.